This Sunday in the Booze and Blues, Booker Brown, bitches.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Clean up aisle 5. He's the master of the panty dropper.
Yeah.
There'll be women hanging around here Sunday night just to get some. He's like one of the most well-dressed men in the business.
Yeah.
Comes in with the jewels.
Right.
He's here to make you have a good time.
Yeah.
And if you ain't going to have a good time, he will beat it into you.
You're right.
It's what he does. Yeah, he's another sweet guy. He's a lot of fun. So we're gonna spend some time with Mr. Brown.
That'll be awesome.
Sunday night. Yeah, he's one of the legends too. That's
exactly.
One of the cool cats that we have around here. Olympia, Washington. That's up in the state, Washington State, Northwest, left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, near Canada, Vancouver, all that stuff.
Right.
Their legislators, the state government, if you will, has done something here that on the surface seems really stupid, but at the same time, there's something to this, and I don't know that I am against this yet. Okay?
Okay.
All right. This is dealing with the cannabis.
Okay.
Pot, weed, grass, Mary Jane, flower, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, right.
There's no shortage of terms to describe it. Everybody's got code names for it, and it's fun. It's all
it is. It is.
However, the state of Washington and their legislators have taken one word officially off the table. Marijuana.
Really?
Yeah. You cannot refer to it, or you're not, on a business level, they do not refer to it as marijuana.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard this discussion mentioned before.
Is this because of the root of that? Or
the racism that's tied to it.
That's tied to that.
And at first, when you first hear that, and for a lot of people that are listening, they're going, what? Yes, that was a thing.
Right.
There was a time in the history of this country when it was not illegal.
Right.
Cannabis.
Right.
And to get those laws, and this was this is about the time Reefer Madness happened.
Yes, yeah.
And part of that, the reason why that film happened, it was a propaganda piece to force people into thinking about the quote-unquote dangers of it all.
Right.
And so it got
quote-unquote danger, yeah.
And well, that's how those laws got in there. So what they did was they demonized it. To make it a moral issue, they demonized cannabis by referring to it as marijuana. And if you'll notice in the original Reefer Madness, they spell it differently. Spell with an H.
That's right.
Marihuana. Marijuana. Of course, it is Hispanic in name.
Right.
Marijuana. All right, now dig this. The legislators passed a law that changes every revised code of Washington State with the word marijuana. The change gets rid of the term, swapping it out for the word cannabis, which is really what it is.
That's what it is.
That's the name of the plant. Supporters say the word marijuana has a long history of racism. They are not wrong.
No.
Washington State Representative Melanie Morgan, during a testimony last year in 2021, said that the term marijuana itself is pejorative and racist. I think that may be a bit of a push, but it's the way it was used. Morgan is a Democrat representing the 29th Legislative District and sponsored the bill, House Bill 1210. Morgan discussed the history of the word, which originated from Spanish. She said, as recreational marijuana use became more popular, it was negatively associated with Mexican immigrants.
Right.
Yeah, so that was you're using this stuff that came from these filthy people. That was the whole notion that they were really trying to push. Now, the governor of Washington, Jay Inslee, signed the bill that passed unanimously into law on March the 11th, and the changes will take effect coming in June. Morgan said that even though it seems simple because it's just one word, the reality is we're healing the wrongs that were committed against black and brown people around cannabis.
Which is exactly correct, yeah.
I think there's no issue with this. Joy Hollingsworth owns Hollingsworth Cannabis Company with her family. The family business includes a pot farm in Shelton. They also run a hemp side calling Hollingsworth Hemp Company, which produces a line of non-THC hemp products like candles and lotions.
Need to be making clothes, man.
Oh, they can make all sorts of stuff. So, at any rate, but she says for people of color in the industry, the word marijuana comes with a burden. Hollingsworth said, the people that run this farm, said that it had been talked about for a long time in our community about how that word demonizes the cannabis plant.
Well, that's why they came up with it.
Well, of course it was. Now, to reel that back is a long process.
Yeah.
It's colloquialism, of course.
Yeah, right.
And we're having fun with it. And most people don't think of it as being pejorative or racist.
Right.
Most.
Yeah, the original spelling was Marihuana.
Right.
Marijuana.
I wonder if that was a construct of the people that produced shows like, or that film like Reefer Madness.
Yeah.
To help with the demonization.
Because now it's not spelled that way. Huana.
All right, well, here's a little bit more of the history. Harry Anslinger was the first commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, which later became the Drug Enforcement Administration. Played a big role in the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937.
Yeah, that was when they outlawed it.
That's which banned the selling or possessing of weed.
Even for medical use.
That is correct. It was
everything.
Outright outlawed. It was Anslinger that said, and I quote, this comes from Morgan, the representative, that said, and I quote, marijuana is the most violent causing drug in the history of mankind, and the most marijuana users are Negroes, Hispanic, Caribbean, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing results from marijuana usage, end quote.
What year was that?
1937 or so.
Okay, that they were saying that?
Anslinger's the one that said this.
Gotcha.
He's the guy that pushed the laws in that made it illegal.
Right.
Okay, with the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. I don't know why they called it a tax act, because there was no tax associated with it.
No.
It was just dealt with, to get rid of it. The satanic music, jazz, and swing results from marijuana usage. If only that were true.
Wow.
So, to explain the mentality around weed in the 1930s, several lawmakers referenced the anti-pop propaganda film Reefer Madness, as we talk about here a bit.
Oh, yeah.
In the, a trailer of the film on YouTube says, in this startling film, you will see dopesters lure children to destruction. A new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. Nowadays it's comical.
Yeah, it is.
Very comical.
Mystery Science Theater 3000 should do Reefer Madness.
They really should.
That would be hilarious.
That really would.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that.
We should do that.
Because it's
public domain.
Public domain.
Yeah.
Now, so Morgan, the representative here, said that it was used as a racist terminology to lock up black and brown people.
Right.
There was sort of an excuse to arrest them. It was this assumption that you're not white, therefore you're a marijuana enthusiast, therefore, without any evidence, whatever. Hollingsworth said that her mother taught her about the trauma behind the word. Hollingsworth said that she was the one who educated us on the term and how it was derogatory and we shouldn't use it anymore. We have a lot of people, especially in the black community, that went to prison over cannabis for years.
Right.
That were locked up, separated from their nuclear family, which is huge. It's really painful for people to hear that word, and it triggers them. I don't know about all that.
But yeah.
I see the point she's trying to make. Now, in 2020, an ACLU report found that nationwide, black people were still 3.6 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than white people.
Yeah. I would believe that.
All right, Washington State Rep. Emily Wicks says the bill changes the conversation around cannabis in Washington. She said, although we call it a technical fix, I think it does a lot to undo or at least correct in some efforts some of the serious harms around this language. She said that if you have a group of people saying this word is derogatory, this word is pain, just not something we should use, we need to have a better understanding of listening to folks.
Right.
Just change it and move on.
Well, and see, that's the thing. When somebody goes, oh, well, that, I find that offensive. No, it's not. Well, maybe to you it's not, but to that other person it is. So I understand the whole politically correct thing goes too far.
Sure.
That's not what we're talking here, though.
Sure.
There's a flyer that was put out back in the 30s.
Yeah.
It says, beware, young and old people in all walks of life. This, with a picture of a joint, may be handed to you by the underlined friendly stranger. It contains the killer drug, marijuana, in quotes with an H, of course.
Yeah.
A powerful narcotic in which lurks murder, insanity, death. Warning, dope peddlers are shrewd. They may put some of this drug in your tea. There's a picture of a teapot. They were using emojis back then. In the teapot, or in the something that I can't make out, or in the tobacco cigarette.
Ooh.
So this is a flyer that
they probably plastered all over the place.
Paper. I think this was an ad in the paper. It looked like.
Representative Hollingsworth points out that there's a lot more work to do when it comes to equity in the cannabis industry. Of course, Washington State, you got to remember, it's legal.
Right.
They can have recreation and medicinal. Hollingsworth said that we'll take any win, right? But we don't want to get caught up on the performative equity piece that we're just talking about the words and not actual legislation and policy.
Right.
We're just changing a word. One change she is hoping to see is a piece of cannabis tax dollars reinvested into communities of color. Well, other states are playing around with that very notion.
Yes, yeah.
Which makes sense. Hollingsworth said that we will feel like the industry has paid off when we see those funds get put into college scholarships. Maybe a family wanted to buy a home and they were from the Central District of Seattle and they wanted to go back there because they were priced out. They could get a loan from those funds. Thinking about creative ways to make impactful, scalable solutions in our community is what I'm looking for here. Lawmakers did establish the Washington Task Force on Social Equity in Cannabis in 2020. One change already in the works is to bring more diversity to pot shop owners. Minority applicants for cannabis licenses could receive grants and assistance that help business owners get established. So, yeah, there's more and more of that we're seeing, which is groovy, I think. I mean, This is a good example of when lawmakers tend to do the right thing. So, I can. If you have like I said, the word marijuana is probably not a triggering device. If it is, they're probably a little too sensitive to this.
Right, agreed.
Because we have so many funny little nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that came from, like, avoiding the man.
Right.
As if.
Yeah, exactly.
like that's a problem. But I think on a legal level, by striking that it's not a bad idea.
No, I agree.
Not a bad idea at all. Cannabis being what it is. It's cannabis.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it has an easy-to-pronounce government name.
Yes. Cannabis.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you.
I did.
And they said, sure. Knock yourself out.
Yes. That is exactly what my doctor said.
I've heard the same thing.
Yep.
So, yes, as it's taken 90 years to get through this. And if you look at the parallels from the Volstead Act, which was that was an amendment to our Constitution banning the sale and the production and possession of alcohol, to that being repealed somewhat, 12 years, I think?
Yeah, it was not very long.
It was long enough.
Yeah, but it's been longer with cannabis.
Because they turned it into a moral issue.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Moral and racist issue.
Yeah. You smoke marijuana? Oh, you're trashy if you smoke marijuana.
Oh, that means you associate with people of color, and we can't have that.
Right,
I mean, because there was all this segregation going on there. Oh, I know it's good dope. I bought it from a Negro.
Right.
Right.
There's that.
There's that. That's a funny line in Animal House.
It is.
You're so high you don't even know it. By treating it the way that it should be treated, which is with a little bit more respect than what it is. And look, it's not for everybody.
No.
And nobody's trying to force it onto anybody.
And neither is drinking.
I'm still waiting to find out where dude is that my mother warned me about. She said, well, he'll give you the first one, and you'll have to pay beyond that.
Yeah.
Well, where is he at?
Yet to find that one.
I sure would like to find that guy.
Yeah.
You got a sample?
Got no freebies.
Yeah, what the hell, dude? It's not how that works.
That's what they need to do inside Sam's. Instead of the little tables where they're sampling food, or maybe they should just let you sample edibles.
They would sell a lot more food if they did.
Yeah, they would. They'd sell a lot more of everything.
You'd have to put a disclaimer on the signs as caution, side effects may include hunger.
Hunger and bizarre purchases.
Oh, man. You can buy pizza rolls by the case? Oh, shit, man.
Let's get this whole box and go home.
Honey, there's no room in the freezer.
We're going to eat them all. It doesn't matter.
By noon tomorrow, it won't be an issue. Trust me. No, I think the cannabis thing is fine. Why not?
Yeah.
It's not that marijuana is a dirty word.
But
it's sort of cartoony now.
It really kind of is when you realize where it came from.
It's up there with weed or the devil's
lettuce.
The Caribbean cabbage or whatever you want to call it. That's the way I think of it, but it's true, actual legal name versus cannabis. Right. And there's cannabis sativas, cannabis indica.
That's right.
Cannabis whatever.
And then there's
all the funny names that go with it.
Right.
So, yeah, good for them up in Washington.
Now, is industrial hemp still... It doesn't produce THC.
No, well, it does, but it's almost an immeasurable amount. It's like... It's not enough to do anything. It's like 0.001.
Oh, okay.
That's why industrial hemp farming had been loosened up, because you cannot get high from smoking a hemp plant.
No.
Flowering or not. It's
right.
It's the same family of plant. It's not the same plant.
Right.
It's a different genus of the plant.
And they weren't allowing people to grow hemp all this time either.
Well, because the hemp plant looks identical to a cannabis plant.
Well, I've got some other...
Mary Jane. Yeah.
I got plants in my old yard.
Mm-hmm.
I had something that looked similar.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to a marijuana plant. But it had 7 leaves. Or maybe it was...
So it was sort of related, but not.
It looked very similar to that plant.
Was it a hempy plant?
I don't remember. And my neighbor was like, "Hey, what you got? What is that growing?" And it was in the front yard. And he's like, "What's it? What do you got growing here?" And I was like, "What?" Well,
was it like a tall plant or?
Yeah, no, it was as tall as me.
Yeah,
and it was there when I got married.
Yeah.
She had it growing there when I married her. And it wasn't cannabis.
Yeah.
But it did have leaves that looked very similar.
Very cannabis-y.
Yeah, it did. And it may have been related. I don't know.
Could have been.
But it never flowered or anything.
Ditchweed.
Yeah.
That's what that was. That's what that is.
And I think it's such a weird thing that I think the cannabis plant. No, I think the leaf is, I think it's an attractive leaf. It's like a maple leaf,
Don't drag the Canadians into this.